welcome to Layback with Betfair. Joined by the A-team, we're back.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Layback with Betfair. I'm back in the chair for Nick Foote. He's away this weekend, but thank God we've got the Equine Genius, Clancey, debuting for the first time this season. And of course, Mr. Haylock, who might be a little bit dusty after his expedition to the Heath yesterday. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that, Tom?
Oh, we just had a farewell at Betfair. I'm feeling great. Don't know what you're talking about. No, it was a big day yesterday, busy day. Had to get up early and do some form and prepare for the show. But great day yesterday. I was at the Heath with Liam and we struggled for winners.
I was going to say, yeah, we need to get up nice and early so we could get some money back.
I know. I was busking this morning. Yeah, no, the track played really well. I still maintain it was fence off, Liam. But good to see the first meeting at the Heath, mates, and yeah, good day out.
If you were busking, what were you doing?
Oh, guitarist.
You play a bit of guitar.
I play a bit of guitar, yeah.
Hey, what about last week? Tell us a little bit about the results last week. A few pretty good bets landed then.
I can't remember what happened last week. It's been about 482 races I've been into since last Saturday. We had an Adelaide Cup Monday. Tell you what, that was a good ride by Spain on a maid. If you backed that last week, you were sick.
Very stiff. There's a very great edition of the round with Guineas last week with Celestial Legend just getting the job done 3-wide most of the way.
I didn't want to talk about that because I backed second and third. The third horse got beaten ahead at 100s. I backed that.
You backed Cafe Millennium.
And had it in the quaddie and got the quaddie, and it would have paid a lot if Cafe Millennium got up. So
you were lucky to get that close, mate. Celestial should have won by another length.
Yeah, but everyone says that, but it drew wide. That's what you get. That was a query going in. Everyone's like, oh, great run, but that's what you get when you do maths. Don't give me that.
That's what you get when you do the maths. You get a loser.
Well, you expected to be 4 wide, 3 wide, whatever, from a wide barrier. It's not uncommon, so you take that into account.
Well,
good win.
Let's talk to Clancey, Equine Genius. How have you been, mate? You've been on punters, doing a bit of work, obviously tipping winners like always. How have you
been? Well, yes, I think the only reason I brought up Celestial Legend was because the only winner I found last week. So it's the rest of them were in the red. But yeah, been well. It's nice to be back for season 5 and looking forward to good card at Rosehill. A bit lacking at Caulfield, we'll say, but obviously the stars are there. We get to see Mr. Brightside back.
Yeah, well, we're going to have a look at the All-Star Mile and another race. But first, as always, we're going to kick off with the lay-bin. And yeah, we'll probably start with you, Tom. I reckon you're keen to kick us off.
I'm gonna feed off Liam's lay-bin. I've got 2, so Liam's going to go first. Right. I'll feed off that. Have you got any?
I actually do have one. Really short, sharp. Why isn't Far Lap, or why doesn't Far Lap have a Group 1 race? How good am I going? Named in his honour. I just think it's a bit.
I actually did think that. Yeah.
I think it's kind of stupid. There's not many better racehorses than Far Lap. He was an absolute superstar, one of my favourite horses, just given the...
You remember watching
I was going to say. Remember storming down the outside in the living room?
Definitely wasn't one of my favourites. So.
Only because he won that Melbourne Cup at a massive weight, and I love those stories and those tough performances.
Everyone knows Far Lap. Everyone.
Yeah. Big heart.
You might not know Mackay David, Black Caviar Wings, but everyone in Australia should know Far Lap.
Absolutely.
And given the amount of Group 1 races we do run in this country, there's probably one in there that could sneak his name in.
Yep. Well, we'll push to Liam. What's your lay-bin?
Mine's round 0 in the AFL. I think every year you get so excited for the AFL to come rolling around, and then that Thursday night clash, the Blues and the Tigers, I've got no affiliation with either side, but I love going to that game because it's the official opening of the season. You get 80 to 90,000 at the G, and it's a cracking night. We've already had 4 games, and it doesn't even feel like the season started. So I feel like tonight is what I would consider the opener for the season, but there's already 16 premiership points that have been given out already. So that's a bit of a shame for me, and it's lost a bit of the gloss of the open to the season. So tonight will be my official opener of the season, and that's the one I'll be enjoying.
I'm really intrigued. I think it's... I know the AFL is such an unfair competition with the way that the rounds happen and teams play each other twice and some don't and whatever, the fixture's pretty cast. But teams now have had a hit out and had a proper AFL match against teams that haven't had it. Does that compromise any of the competition? Is it going to be harder for teams that are first up against Adelaide play Gold Coast on Saturday night? Is it going to be harder for Adelaide having not had that hit out? Are they going to be rusty for the first quarter and a half? It's going to be fascinating to see.
Well, we're probably not going to know until the end of the season, but traditionally, teams usually don't go so well the week after a bye. So, but like horse racing, you kind of want a first up run early and freshen the preparation for.
Well, everyone's a bit fumbly and panicked and don't have the composure early because it's really fast paced and everyone's fresh and it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. A few teams like Richmond, Carlton have already played a game. So,
well, yeah, I mean, my thing is that I actually don't mind it. I thought it was fine. I think Queensland and New South Wales get their turn, and given all the results in terms of crowd attendance, it'd be interesting to see if wagering was up. Maybe we'll ask some of the people around Betfair, but I thought it was a massive success, and I don't think you're going to get less of a crowd tonight at Richmond Carlton. I still feel like it's a massive game.
Richmond weren't very good, so maybe the few Richmond supporters don't go after last
But
week's
also,
performance.
play all 9 games. Play those 4 games, but play the other 5.
I think there's a real missed opportunity. We had Sunday, Monday, public holiday with no footy. I think in future years they'll have a Monday blockbuster or something on the public holiday.
Yep. Yeah, right. Was that your?
I'm going to feed off the back of that.
Yep.
It's round 1 now, and we've got teams and clubs out there advertising memberships and using figures for pet memberships. Now, pet memberships in general, you'd be pet membership kind of nuffy.
Yeah.
Get in the lobe in, because your pet doesn't need to be a bloody member. It's ridiculous.
Mine does.
Don't count toward. Of course it does.
Yeah.
That's you. Sums you up right there. You're a bloke with a pet membership. So we move on.
Just supporting my club, and my dog really likes the membership.
And
likes
Carlton
his little
have got an
gift.
extra member.
Yeah, that's right.
How do you record that as part of a?
Surely they wouldn't record that.
I reckon they would.
No.
What about baby memberships?
No, that's better than a pet membership.
Yeah, I don't mind that. Then as a 21-year-old, you can say, I've been a member of the club for 21 years.
It's better than a pet. Anyway, another one. All-Star Mile. Now, I'm not laying the All-Star Mile. I'm not. I'm laying the criticism.
Okay.
Who cares if it's a garbage race? I'll still have a bet in it. I'll still watch it as long as we find the winner. Every second race in Sydney is worth $2 million and it's garbage. Look at the Hill Stakes. Hill Stakes has had fields of 5 and 6 the last few years and it's been absolutely garbage. Stop talking about the All-Star Mile. Who cares? Just bet, find the winner.
Well, we get to see Mr. Brightside and
I
Pride
know.
of Jenny.
It's a good
cracking
race.
contest. I wouldn't say it's a good race, but that'll be a cracking contest.
No, it's a garbage race.
I like the opinions on how to make it better, but I completely agree with the fact that
Stop talking.
everyone's got a chip on their shoulder about it. Just
everyone hates Racing Victoria and Victorian racing, and everyone that get paid by Racing Victoria, they're all participants to the game. They're all industry people. They love jumping on. Just it's one bad. Look at the winners. The winners have been fantastic in recent years. It's still going to have a good winner this year, unless. But look at the winners in Sydney. Hell Hathaway Fury won a stakes race 2 weeks ago. It's like anyone can pick on a race here and there.
I did love seeing Matt Welsh come out on SEN and talk about the fact that Racing Victoria want to have a crack and try some new stuff.
Yeah, it's good.
Good on them.
Yep.
That's what we want. We need to get the beautiful game out to as many people as possible. All right. Speaking of the All-Star Mile, we're going to get stuck into Caulfield. We're going to race on a good 4. The rail's out 6 metres. It's going to be a beautiful weekend in Melbourne. Sunny Melbourne. It's going to be about 25 degrees at Caulfield on Saturday. Do you reckon we're likely to see an upgrade, lads? What do you think, Clance?
I think if it starts a good 4, might end as good 3. It's a
standard.
very sunny day. Yep, I don't think anything should stop the track from playing really fairly.
Rail out 6, southerly wind. I'm wary of on-pace bias, so just monitor that. I wouldn't be surprised if it's leaders, especially early.
Well, I think it is a great segue into the All-Star Mile, which is the first race we're going to talk about, obviously. A weight for age 1,600 metre contest. Mr. Brightside looking to go back-to-back. The massive speed influence is obviously going to be Pride of Jenny. That bias could be a big deal, but Tom, what do you think about the speed in this one?
Yeah, it's just what happened in the CF4. Pride of Jenny leads Buffalo River. They'll go hard. They'll get plenty of these out of their comfort zone, especially if the first 7 races has proven that on speed is advantageous. Mr. Brightside could drift if that's the case. If leaders are getting away with murder and running, finding it hard to run on throughout the day, Pride of Jenny could be well backed. Mr. Brightside is clearly the horse to beat. He's done nothing wrong. He got over the top of Pride of Jenny and Buffalo River in the The CF4, he's drawn a bit awkwardly here, which is a query, but I think he's clearly the horse to beat. I think Pride of Jenny can win. Outside of that, I think Cascadian is probably the best roughie, but that's all for me.
What do you think, Clance?
Yeah, there's a lot of pace in this race. Attractable's the one coming down from Sydney, who's drawn 2 beautifully. That horse
Cancing
loves to go to
behind,
the front. I reckon.
Surely can't lead Pride of Jenny.
We got Sarah Ryan. And you got Linda Meach on board. He's not going to take a sit. She'll go straight to the front, and then Pride of Jenny and Buffalo River. Pride of Jenny sits outside lead, and then Buffalo River has to decide whether it wants to push on.
Nothing can be faster than Pride of Jenny if they want to lead.
Well, we'll see.
Going to be interesting.
What do you make of Pride of Jenny being kept pretty fresh for this one?
I don't see a problem with it. Obviously, one on the backup Saturday to Saturday in the spring. I'm never going to question Kieran Maher, especially in a big race.
Yeah, I see the race fairly similar to you, Tom, but the value in the race that I want to play and one of the angles for this race that I'm really enjoying is the fact that the Kiwis get the opportunity to come over. And Desert Lightning, obviously, heavily publicised, beating Legato over there, over the mile on a soft 5. Probably won't get that cut out of the track here, but they brought over, and he was actually sensational. Was very well back favourite when beaten by La Creek in the Group 1 last start. So I think a return to the previous form when running very well and beating Legato.
Where's Legato here?
Legato's coming over for the Guineas.
Yeah, I'm just surprised. It could have run in this race.
Yeah, interesting. But yeah, so Desert Lightning is, I've got it marked around the $11 mark and we're getting 31 at the moment. So $4.50 a place is the way I'll be keen to play.
Tom, you mentioned Cascadian, a really solid third up horse, and I reckon, probably going to come from the back of the field and make his run late. He's a great All-Star Mile horse. He's placed in it before. Probably could argue he could have been a little bit closer to Fangirl in fourth, stepped a little bit slow last start, but I think top 3 market, top 4 market, he's going to be great value for punters. What do you think about him?
Yeah, I think he's going to run well. He's just a good horse. I like the timing. I think they've just been aimed at this race the whole campaign, which I love. Third up, fit, is a quality galloper. He's got to be in the mix.
Last one on Mr. Brightside. What are your rated prices for him if you want to have a bet?
Get 210, I'll be happy to bet.
210, good luck.
$1.95 on the exchange already.
You got a lame?
Right now?
Nah. Wouldn't lame at $1.95, but you'll back it. Yeah.
Yeah.
$1.90. But I'm not. He's too good a horse to be against, so I'm not really keen to bet in the race, to be honest.
You're getting $1.90 on the exchange right now?
Yeah,
Yes.
and that's the price I've got him rated. I just find this little market edge at the moment.
We'll see what happens. All right, let's go to the listed Ballaspree Stakes. Just before we talk about the form for this one, I just wanted to bring up a little fun fact about the Ballaspree Stakes. And obviously, champion horse, Ballaspree, was owned by Kevin Sheedy and obviously was a 2-time Group 1 winner. When Ballaspree won the Blue Diamond Stakes in 2002, Kevin Sheedy was coaching a pracky match and they actually got the race up on the big screen for everyone to watch. What a great bloke for it to happen.
Days, eh?
Yeah, what a great bloke
memberships in the crowd. It was good.
A few pet memberships going around then. But what do we think about the Ballaspree Stakes? Obviously, Ray McNerio is someone that you're keen on, Clance.
Yeah, really keen in the final race of the day. You got a decent amount of speed. You got Brudenell, Indian Pacific, Grand Impact, all going to be pushing forward. Grand Impact's a fascinating runner. Hasn't been sighted at the races for 500 days. Has trialled okay. The form out of his 4 race starts are phenomenal.
Yeah.
Can return to that form, then he's right in this race. But off a break of 500 days, you just got to be happy to take a set against that horse. Ray McNerio steps back from the Group 1 Oakley Plate. Never really in the race, got back, tried to run on. Wasn't his day. I think Saturday is his day. Back to that prior form where he won, running past that good horse on the 3rd of February and snuck up the inside. That was a really nice win, nice turn of foot. That rating has him marked $3 here, so very happy to play in the last Ray McNerio.
What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, I've got Ray McNerio clearly on top as well. Brudenell was accepted in Sydney, runs here, scratched in Sydney. There's a real bunch finish behind in that Oakley Plate. There was a length or so between 3rd and 10th or 11th there. Ray McNerio ran 9th and got beaten a length off 3rd place. He was half a length off Brudenell, meets him 4 kilos better. as Liam said, there's enough speed here with ground impact in the Pacific, and Brudenell probably kicks up and is handy like he was in Oakley Plate. I've got Ray Magnera on top. I just want to see how the track's playing by now. I hate backing back markers late in the day. Hate it with a passion. Anytime, really, but more so than come the last race. Grand Impact's a fascinating horse. It's hard to back him at a short price off such a long break, but he's had a trial on Feb 5, which he won, and he's had 2 jump outs since. So we're going to be ready to go here. Bar Plate's first time, obviously interesting. So interesting to see what the market does with him. Watch Betfair closely with Grand Impact there. He could be a very, very nice horse, but Ray Magnera on top for me as well.
7 of the last 9 winners have carried either 54 kilos or 54.5, so that bodes well for Ray Magnera. We're going to head over to Rosehill now. That's Caulfield done. Maybe you can give us any more bets at the end of the show that you're having there. But Rosehill, rails in the true position. Should been also awesome weather in Sydney over the week. Track is a good 4. What do you guys think about the way the track will play, Tom?
Good question. So, showers Friday, showers Saturday in Sydney. It's going to have a big impact on the track. If it is drying, I do look for up and in, inside fence pattern on the day. So we'll just see that. My biggest query for the next 3 weeks at Rosehill, we've had 2 weeks of Randwick form coming into the next 3 weeks at Rosehill. So we're going Randwick to Rosehill. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some form turnarounds. Some of these horses fly, especially on speed from the chute at Rosehill. And I'll get to my lay of the day later, but if you're a back market that's run well at Randwick in recent weeks and come to Rosehill on a firm track from a chute start, it might be a lot harder to make ground. So just something to keep an eye on. Always a little tricky going from Randwick back-to-back weeks to Rosehill, 3 weeks.
Well, let's go to the Group 3 Magic Night Stakes for the 2-year-old fillies. Sunlight, Kimichi, Steel City won this race last year. Anisa is the short price favourite. What are you going to do with it, Clance?
Yeah, keen to back this 2-year-old filly. It was obviously a really nice performance behind Hayasugi in the Blue Diamond when probably had every opportunity, but it's been beaten 1.3 lengths in a Blue Diamond. I don't think any of these other contesting this race will be able to do that. Castagna's a good horse, gets back, runs on unfavourable racing pattern. The other one I think is slightly over the odds early is Snowden's horse Drifting. Got a mark $7. It's about 12.50 in the field. So Anisa on top, and we'll be playing Drifting in the exotics.
Where have you got Drifting mapped?
Pretty wide.
That's the query.
But I've got a feeling that there's only 2 real leaders in this race. Like Chateau Miraval probably leads on its ear.
Yep. And
then anyone who wants to show any sort of tractability and head forward has the option. So, Tommy Sherry, he's more than capable of sending him out. So, reasonable each way price, that one.
Fascinated to see how the Blue Diamond form stacks up here. We've got some Melbourne form in the next 2 races, the Pago. Always a yearly debate. So, yeah, we've got Coleman and Anisa lining up here from the Blue Diamond. Anisa in this race. Anisa's got probably a better racing pattern than the horse I'm looking for here, and that's Fly Fly. I'm just hoping Fly Fly maps closer. Drew wide last start, went back, made really good grounds, some fantastic sectionals there. I just hope up to the 1,200 metres can settle closer from 5 and be in the striking distance if I'm in with her. Low confidence race. We've got Chateau Miraval leading. No surprise if it's, as I said, if I'm looking for leaders, and Chateau Miraval gives a sight. But Fly Fly on top for me comes out of the Sweet Embrace where 4 of them do, and was the best there. So Fly Fly on top, Anisa's clearly an X factor and got to be in the mix.
Yep. Looking forward to that race. Let's go to the Group 3 Pago Stakes. Another one for the 2-year-olds, obviously over 1,200 metres, won by Shinzo, written by All Too Hard. What do we think of this one, lads? 5 of the last 8 winners have come from barriers 1 to 4. Tom, what's the speed look like in this race?
It's tricky. A few of these up to 1,200 metres for the first time. I think all I know is Gatsby's going to be close to the speed and get a perfect run from barrier 3, and that's the way I'm looking at the race. Got him clearly on top. I think he's a potential star. I've had a huge opinion of him since the trials. I black booked Rosalind Star and Gatsby's off their trials, and said to follow that form line, and they've come out and ran exceptional times. They went hard early. I think they went 5 or 6 lengths faster than class benchmark to the 600, and they stuck on, put huge gaps on the field. Rosalind Star came out Wednesday and put huge margins on his field there. So form stacks up. I'm with Gatsby's here. I think he's a genuine horse. I wouldn't be surprised if he's competitive in a slipper. If he backs up and goes that way, I think he'll win. Race 4, number 7, Gatsby's one of my better bets on the program. Coleman's the fascinating runner. Tongue tie off. When tongue tie went on in the Blue Diamond, I'll get your opinion on this, Liam. Bizarre move and bailed and was really... I thought he would drift a little bit in the market, but he was real firm in the Blue Diamond. So, little query there of a tongue tie coming off today. Will it spark a bit of improvement? Have we seen the best of him? Was he just playing and forgive in the Blue Diamond? What are your thoughts?
I was surprised, but I guess you don't really question that sort of camp when they're going into what was a grand final. I have to be with Coleman here at the price. You're getting $4.60, currently $5.10 on the exchange for a horse that was really solid favourite in a Blue Diamond. And it has that fail, but as you say, the tongue tie is coming off. Looks massive early overs. A return to the previous rating that was a dominant win that saw him run favourite in the Blue Diamond. That rated a couple of lengths above Gatsby's debut win. Of course, they're 2-year-olds, so they can spiral and they can have huge new peaks as they settle and find out where their ratings actually land. So Gatsby's is going to be very, very hard to beat, but when we're getting $5 as compared to $2.40, Gatsby's have to be with Coleman early.
I just want to ask about Gatsby's in terms of the conditions it raced in last start. It was absolutely torrential rain on debut. Do you guys look at that at all, given it was probably a tough outing, even though it was a really, really strong win? Do you worry about potentially going second up after a horse ran in terrible conditions like that?
No, I don't. To put it simply, like Waller's a genius. Like he wouldn't have this horse, and you can see every time he talks about it, he's so excited about the prospect of this colt. So I don't think you'd take too much of that.
It was only a soft 5.
It was a soft 5.
It was soft 5 at the time. I know it was raining, but it was a soft 5 first use of the track there at Canterbury, so no issues at all there. And we've seen the second horse come out and annihilate him. Everyone will see this horse in terms of data. Team will love it because he smashed the clock there. He ran exceptional times. He's just a nice horse, and I think he'll win.
That Rosalind start just makes it so easy to like the horse tomorrow, doesn't it?
I was pretty keen on Rosalind Star. I know he started $1.40 in the end, but I just thought he'd win that easy on Wednesday, and he did, and frank the form.
Alrighty, well, we'll take a little bit of a break from Rosehill. We're going to go to the Sky High Stakes next, but before we do, Tom, something's caught your eye this week.
Oh, a bit of tinfoil hat here, and I'm copying it on social media for this tweet, but I mean nothing by this. I'm not actually thinking it's suspicious or anything. I just found it interesting that James McDonald's barriers, and there's a reason for it, and I'll get to that in a second, but this Saturday he's drawn barriers 4, 9, 3, 4, 2, 2, 2, 5, 6. And last Saturday he's got 2, 1, 4, 2, 2, 4, 8. So he's continually drawn good barriers, and there's a reason for that, but there's also a reason why he lobs in the 1-1 all the time and gets a really good run in transit, because he rides a lot for Chris Waller. Chris Waller either scratches from wide barriers, he puts the jockey on the best horse and the race that's suited for that race, and invariably they're the horses that draw inside for Chris Waller. Or if they're drawn wide, they often go back and have a run. So he gets the choice and he gets the good runs. There's just something in that for everyone raves about how good J-Mac is, and he's an absolute star. But he does get, because of the Chris Waller factor and the way that Chris Waller rides, he ends up with good barriers more often than not.
What I will say is, when we're not in Sydney, he's gone to Hong Kong.
Yeah.
He's drawn barrier 11 of 11.
He was probably due after all this.
I'll tell you what, he still put in a peach and gave Romantic Warrior the Group 1 win over there. I think he almost did, didn't he?
I didn't actually watch that race.
But the other barrier 11 he drew was Robusto.
Yeah.
When we were all on that day, and he's been pipped by Waller's other horse, Wellwall, up the inside. So, that's a great game.
A great game. There you go, just something cool. Don't everyone on social media
come after him. Go for it.
What was the price of Wellwall?
I'm not thinking it's suspicious.
Johnny Walter tipped that one at a massive price.
He did.
Or so.
On his live stream. Tune into that on Saturdays.
It's actually a very good live stream. I've had a good look. Well done, Johnny Walter. Let's go to the Group 3 Sky High Stakes. It's a 2,000 metre race. Protagonist won last year. The international horse Stockman, Toffee Ton, Master of Wine. I love that horse. It was disappointing, but I loved it. I don't know why. I've always backed it. And
But I
used to
loved it.
disappoint.
Master of Wine. That is an awful horse to like. No offense.
Yeah, like the wet weather, came from the back of the field. It was a Caulfield Cup favourite at one point. Anyway,
Yeah,
let's
it was.
move on.
Yep.
Lindemann and Just Fine are taking up a significant portion of the market. What do you think, Tom, about the speed?
I'm going to ask Liam here. Does Just Fine kick up and lead? He was very plain last start, but have you got him leading Lindemann?
Yes, I do. I have him leading from Lindemann, Athalabaskin, probably behind
Hopeful.
leader on the
Hopeful
rail.
could be handy too from the inside, in my opinion.
Yeah, probably just becomes a bit of a speed bump, that horse. But it's a fascinating horse. It was such a great preparation, Just Fine, last prep. And then just I don't know if the horse has come up. It was a pretty disappointing first up assignment. Up to 2,000 is a positive for sure. But the way Lindemann's gone since being gelded, I think it's very hard to have anything else on top of that. And I think Just Fine's 255 at the moment as we record. That's one of the great lays of the weekend for me. So 255, I'm probably happy to lay this horse out to about 355. So there's plenty of juice in that price. It'll end up being my lay of the day. I won't be back in Lindemann too short at the moment, but I'm definitely on top.
Hateful race. Hateful horse, Lindemann too. Any race he's $1.75 in. I'm not liking the race. He's got to be a great chance to win Lindemann. He gets the map. He gets all favours here.
Small field.
He obviously was fantastic in a very elegant last start. He just held on quite well there. Yeah, no idea what to make of Just Fine. The SP profilers might like him and keep him short because he was favoured over those four from the very elegant that come through that race. He was half the price of Lindemann there. So if you're looking at that, you know what? I'd rather, if I was keen on Just Fine, I'd rather back him off a last and his performance last start than if he ran 5th or 6th. Just because you can completely pen the race and say if he's here and has come back, like it could have just been an excuse. Horses put in shockers like that.
Oh, for sure.
If he ran 5th and there was no excuses and he just wasn't good enough, then I'd be like, I'd be more confident. But that query there's just a little bit interesting. It's hateful race for me.
But like even Just Fine's like meteoric rise last prep, those the three of his best ratings in a row still rate below Lindemann's last start, third or last start, whatever it was. So even if he returns to his best form, he still needs Lindemann to come back a step and him to go up a step. So can't possibly have Just Fine anywhere
First
near
start at Rosehill.
A very, very good argument to lay there. Clancey, we'll keep an eye on that one. Time for the Group 3 Morris McCartan Stakes. Cannonball won this race. Shelby 66, California Zimble, a couple of others. Tom, you've highlighted Airman as a possible lay. Do you want to talk us through that one?
Red card leads, for starters. Etheric caught wide maybe or working across Libertad. An Omni-Man as well will be right up there from a good barrier from the Waterhouse yard. Interesting race in the first 4 favourites are drawn barriers 1, 2, 3, 4, which is interesting. You don't see that very often. Brudenell scratched here, Rainbill scratched. Brudenell runs in Melbourne, as we talked about. Now, I went looking for Airman because I think he's the best horse in this race, and I think he's a very good horse. He split Bella Nipotina and I Am Me last campaign, which is elite form. Bella Nipotina's a quality animal.
I had no luck that day too.
I know. Should have won. But first up last campaign, 1,100 metres Rosehill. Red card beat Airman by 1.75 lengths. Red card meets him 6.5 kilos better. 6.5 kilos better for beating him home 1.74 lengths. Airman will need luck from the inside barrier, and I hate the setup for him. He obviously performed sensationally second or third up, but first up last campaign, just off that alone, I can't get him near the price. I just think Red card could be off and gone with race fitness on his side. Airman's coming off a long break. I don't think he was here to potentially win. I think there's bigger fish to fry, maybe over the championships, and I wouldn't be surprised if Red card skips clear and puts a break on him, and he'll be charging home. But I don't think he's the right price. I've got him. I think he'll drift. I have to see him drift.
Yep, 59 kilos first up is a big task. Just on the barriers, barrier 1 and 2 has won 4 of the last 7 editions of this race. So Good start by you.
Red
Clancey, what do
card's
you
drawn
think?
1 and Airman's drawn 2.
You got a stats man on the books or something.
Yeah, I actually
Pulling out
do.
some nice stats this show.
I've got Chua in the
Yeah,
background.
exactly. Ash Chua doing the best.
Sir Swamp Thing's out the back.
Jeez, our budgets. That's where all our budgets go.
That's right.
Nothing for me in this race. Eamon, third pick, red card on top. It was really good to see red card come back so strongly first up.
No, it wasn't.
Well, for some of us. I certainly didn't back the horse, but I like the horse, so it's nice to see after some poor runs towards the back of end of the last prep. It's nice to see the horse come back.
I like her because I laid her at $1.40 at Caulfield.
Airman, too short. My lay of the day. I'm going to continue my lay streak. There, the Group 2 Farlap Stakes. It's so disappointing that Farlap doesn't have a Group 1 named after him. We know why. Did he win a Melbourne Cup?
Should have put that in the lay bin.
Zoo Gotcha, Mr. Mozart, Hungry Heart, Fun Star, very elegant, won this race. All pretty short prices. The only one that was double figures there was Mr. Mozart. Macarena is the favourite. Clancey, you want to talk about speed here?
Yeah, there's plenty of it. Saltcoats, Noisy Bow, Alcuva, Lay Van Piers is probably one that wants the front, but from 11 is going to be tough. And Raff Attack is another one that did it pretty tough last start, but has that natural front running style. Macarena probably gets a nice camp in behind them. The horse that I really like is double figures. It has just drawn poorly again, which is Tutor La Vida. She's going to have to go back, need luck in running and run over the top. The extra 100 metres is going to help. The only reason I'm really keen that horse to have a bet is just we're getting a great price. We're getting double figures about a horse that I've got marked around the $6 mark.
She was 100th last.
Yep.
Went around 150 Betfair last start. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that was in the Group 1 Surround Stakes behind Tropical Squall and hit the line really nicely. Obviously back half a step here. These are probably the Group 2 horses that you'd expect. Group 3 possibly. So I think she's got a great future in her, but just going to need a lot of luck. So I'll leave it to Kieran McAvoy, who's riding in good form. Not generally one of mine, but he's going really well at the moment.
He's flying, isn't he?
Yeah, he really is. So hopefully we have a bit of luck, and Tutor La Vida is my play. Macarena and Lay Van Piers and Saltcoats the ones for the quaddie.
I don't know what to make of that surround form. I know Tropical Squall won. Tutor La Vida, who ran in a benchmark 72 2 starts prior, ran a very good second, beaten in a photo. I've got no strong opinion of the race. Not really keen to play on it, to be honest. I give Saltcoats a chance, just bring some different form, which I'm keen, draws well. J-Mac, no surprise.
Rightio, Phillies have won 6 of the last 7 there, so interesting for a couple of the horses that you both mentioned. It's time for the Coolmoore Classic. Zoo Gotcha, I think, is one of the better bets on the day, but I think Tom disagreed pretty early on that one. What do you think that, Tom?
Well, I just couldn't ever make a best bet in a mares race like this. It's such a hard race. Speed from Denied Knowledge and Tropical Squall, they go hard, you'd think. I wouldn't be surprised if Tropical Squall just camps outside Denied Knowledge. So how you got it?
Well, they're going to have to go pretty quick. Tropical Squall, as wide as she is, she's drawn 17. Her racing style is dictate, lead, win. And when you're coming from 17 with a fair bit of pace under you, that's a pretty tough assignment. For that reason, I'll be laying Tropical Squall. We'll be laying the place as well. I think 250 the place at the moment. Keen to take that on.
I think she needs further than 15 now.
Yeah, I think there's a few in that camp that are sort of building through their preparation here. And one that's certainly not is Zoo Gotcha, the favourite. I'm pretty keen this runner. Obviously went a bit off the boil last preparation. And then first up in the Millie Fox, I think it was the Group 2, was dominant. That was over 1,300. She gets out to 1,500, which is going to be even more suitable here. That rating first up was half a length off her career peak, and we know how strong her career was early. So if Waller's got this horse back to her best, this race should be at the mercy of Zoo Gotcha. So keen to play. We're getting $4.40 to find out. I think it's an excellent price.
Good form line as well, with Lady Laguna coming out and winning the Group 1 Canterbury.
Jeez, how well has that horse gone this preparation? Just gets better and better and better.
Being well placed, was beneficiary of some awful tactics last start, Lady Laguna.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh, don't give me that. Think about it, wasn't there to win. Espiona should have been in the Newmarket.
I agree
went
with
back
that.
and was on one rein the whole start.
But I don't think
She's going well, don't get me wrong.
I don't think Clipperton was that much at fault. The horse just didn't want to settle. On Think About It, I'm talking.
Yeah, I just don't think they were there to win either.
Mm.
The race was handed to Lady Laguna.
That was a good win. It was a fantastic win.
You've got to respect Zugotcha. I'm not going to say she's not a winning chance. I think she's clearly probably the horse to beat. Yonce is an interesting horse for me. Absolute winner. Draws well. Barrier 1, gets a suck run. I just don't like these mares races where a lot can go wrong. Big field. I've got Zugotcha on top. Fascinating race. I agree with Liam. Take on Tropical Squall for me as well.
Yeah, rightio. I'm looking forward to the race. I think Zugotcha, as I said, that's going to be my best bet for the day. Looking forward to seeing it run. The Group 2 Ajax Stakes is going to be the last race that we talk about today. What do we think, guys? Who wants to kick off with the speed?
Oh, Fearson leads. Just Folk walking around. I don't know how Fearson kept going last start when leading.
No, I've got PTSD looking at that horse.
I bet the second horse each way. It was one of my better bets of the program, and yeah, I don't know how that kept going. Leaders late in the day, but Fearson leads. Just Folk won't be too far away. Caesar's Palace as well. Anything else?
Yeah, More Victorious will be right up there as well. That horse is flying. Yep. 2 starts, 2 wins this preparation, and absolutely blew the clock away last start. So very wary of that runner. But I'm keen to stick with Robusto, that I've been following this horse throughout the whole prep, which is testing the medal when it's run second 0.3 and then second 0.2 the last 2. So this gelding's really hit some consistent form. The ratings that he's producing is fantastic. That last start, 3 wide, gave all, well just got him on the rail, but we're getting $14, and I think it's more than a generous price. Drawn beautifully in 4. Compare that to last start, was 3 wide the trip. That was drawn 11 that day and was stuck out there. You won't be having those problems here. As Tom touched on, I think the main danger to him is if these leaders kick away and it's a day when the leaders are proving tough to catch. I think Robusto is a great each way price. I just hope it's a fair track.
What do your ratings say about Glory Days?
Glory Days is an interesting one because not the first start at Warrnambool, but the second and third starts in Australia, which was Sandown and then Randwick, amazing ratings, went through the roof, which would be just over a length clear of Robusto's ratings. But then went off the boil a bit, and then first up, this prep looked to be a little bit below his best as well, but then found that really small race where only 6 runners ended up running. Got the perfect race shape for a 61 kilos, just got to sit on and then kick away. Returned to a best, that was an equal career peak rating, that one.
Yeah, I've got it rating really high, surprisingly.
Yeah, but I do find that those small field races can throw up that sort of a result when nothing really changed in the race. It didn't have to show a great turn of foot. I think you will have to show a great turn of foot here with those leaders out in front. So happy enough to take the horse on.
I think he can map okay. I think they're just starting to work him out as well, freshened. So he's first started 6-week break and now coming into this off a 7-week break, freshened up off a high rating win. I'm very wary. He's down 7 kilos, 8 kilos from when we last saw him, and his weight for age is extremely well off with 53 kilos for a 5-year-old. So he's still on the up. He's got a great career record. I think he's a nice horse. I'm very, very wary. I won't be losing if he wins, but need to do a bit more work in this race. I'm a bit wary of a few of those up on speed as well.
Rightio, that's Rosehill done and dusted. Lads, do you want to summarise some of your bets before we get into the lay streak?
Sure can. We're going 1x3 Desert Lightning in the All-Star Mile. Rome Magnerio to finish the card, race 10 at Caulfield. And then we flick over to Rosehill, cracking meat. We're going to side, amazingly, I can't believe I'm saying this, with the Melbourne form up there, with Anisa and Coleman.
What are you doing?
I know, it's...
You're banking on Blue Diamond form stacking up Saturday.
Which I tell you what, you'd be broke if you were doing that the last 10 years. So hoping for a turnaround in form there. Laying just fine, best lay of the day in the Group 3 Sky High Stakes. Lindemann going to be hard to beat there, but too short currently. Tutor La Vida in the Group 2 File Up Stakes at the double figure price. Zugotcha in the Coolmoore. Robusto race 9 at the double figures, about $14, $15 on the exchange.
What do you think, Tom?
I don't think Coleman will know which way Gatsby goes on Saturday. It'll be behind Gatsby's and won't be able to see it in the straight.
You should have seen him yesterday when Rosalind Starr kicked away. He goes, they won't be able to stop Gatsby's on Saturday.
Wish I had more money so I could have a bet. Yeah, I think Gatsby's my best of the day. I think he will be very hard to beat, and if he does back up in a slipper, I can see him running well. Not much else. I don't mind Roving Neary in the last. I just want to see how the track plays. Sometimes at Caulfield, I think it'll be leaders, but sometimes at Caulfield they do get wide and off fence, especially late in the day, which really could suit him. And I won't be backing him yet, but if it is a bit or not laterish, I can definitely have him on top, Roving Neary. Lay Streak, I'll get to it now, is Airman. Pretty keen to take him on. I think he's the best horse in the race. I think he's in for fantastic preparation, but best horses also need things their way and they need intent. And I don't think he'll get that, and I think Red Card and those up on speed might just have a few lengths on him and he'll need a bit of luck.
What about you, Clance?
Just fine. My Lay Streak. Very happy to be joining the challenge. I don't know who's on top. I'm sure you guys will fill up. But my $100 liability will be going just fine. I'd love to take any part of the 260 available now, but if it's BSP, hopefully it doesn't drift out too much.
Well, before we go to Jackson, let's just talk about some of the results, just to get Clance up to speed. Nick Foot was he laid Grinzinger, Bell, the place, and the BSP was $2.04 there. So a massive lay from Footy. This week he's laying Sox Nation, continuing his lay streak, but not with us obviously today. Tom didn't do too well with Eternal Flame last week. Stay Focused was scratch for Reese. I laid Queen of the Ball to place.
Reese laid Paratres is back up to be fair.
Yeah, sorry, that's correct. Thanks for clearing that one up. That was a good lay from Reese, and then Jackson laid Berkshire Shadow, who just drifted incredibly. It was around that $3-4 mark, and the BSP ended up being at $8.50. So a massive drift for Berkshire Shadow, but this is who Jackson is laying this week.
Lay Streak this week, Caulfield race 3 and number 10, Wolfie. I thought his run first up at Caulfield was a pass mark. He flopped out of the gates with the blinkers on for the first time, had the pattern against, and did run the fastest last 100 metres of the race. However, I don't like him staying at 1,200 metres here. All his best ratings are over 1,400 metres. He gets blinkers off and winkers on, but I still don't think he'll settle any closer. Ever since he failed at Sandown at his second ever start from outside lead, he's had 5 runs and has only settled ahead of 4 out of 54 runners. I think he'll be back here with pattern against again. I don't think he's sharp enough to win at 1,200 metres and looks way too short for me. I thought the favourite here, White Bear, did a sensational job to win at Penella first up. He got pestered, kicked away, broke the clock, and I think he'll start probably 240, 250, and I'm hard against Wolfie. That's race 3, number 10, Wolfie.
So Jackson is laying Wolfie there, trying to go for 2 in the row. For me, to get 5 in a row, or 6 in a row, I think. I agree with Tom. I'm laying Airman. I think the weight is a little bit much. Inside barrier bodes well for him in that race. But yeah, as Tom said, I think he'd need a little bit of luck. Probably settle midfield, might get caught in a bit of traffic given it's quite a big field. That's all we got for the show today in terms of betting. I wanted to ask a quick little question because I reckon we zoomed through that show. We got a little bit of time. I asked Clance before, if you were the CEO of Racing New South Wales or Racing Victoria and you had a pop-up race that you wanted to bring in,
question without notice.
What sort of pop-up race would you be bringing in?
I'll give you a little bit of time.
Yeah, please do.
You asked me before. My favourite races to bet in are the big field handicaps, and my favourite racing is sprinting. So they're always going to be my favourite. For example, the Oakley Plate every year is an absolute cracker. You need luck in running. You need to be well weighted. You get a horse coming over from SA like Q-Man who's able to pull off a Group 1. So I like those stories and I like those sort of races. And we've got one at Caulfield. So I wouldn't mind seeing one over 1,200 at the Valley. I don't particularly like straight racing, so I think that throws up too many rough results that are difficult to predict. So the Valley is one where it's all about the map, where you're going to land, and obviously handicap as well to bring everyone to the same level. And you're a good chance of finding, you can have a couple of throws at 20 to 1, 25 to 1 and try and find a result that way. So they're my preferred ones, but to be honest, I think we've got enough pop-up races at the moment, but if there was another, that'd be the one I'd go for.
It's your job to innovate the country with this race. All right, what do you reckon, Tom?
it's a good question without notice. I like my 1400 metre mile races. I think miles, big fields like the Doncaster are my favourite races to bet into. Love them. I don't think the All-Star Mile should be handicapped. I know a lot of people are talking about that. Like, people are saying that Jimmy Starr's not the race because it's not a handicap. Who cares about Jimmy Starr? Like, I'd rather Mr. Brightside running it and actually have the quality there at Wait for Age than if it's a handicap, Mr. Brightside may not run. And wouldn't run and you get Jimmy Starr, then what's the race look like? Like, bizarre. I think I'd like to see the Victorian race clubs work together and maybe have a series. I know you're laughing because it'll never happen. How are we going to get Australian racing together and working on series when we can't even do it in Victoria? ATC in Sydney are so lucky that they have one club and they can actually work. And I think I know that there's potentially selling Rosehill or whatnot, but I would do more in Sydney to have a series across tracks, maybe. I really like the Pakenham Sprint Series, the Maidens with the grand final, stuff like that. Now that Pakenham and Cranbourne are a club, maybe they can have series across both tracks and stuff like that. So I'd like to see the three clubs work together and have maybe some series racing with the grand final.
Can we name something after Farlap? Have we brought that up yet?
There's a Group 2 race in
Yeah, what do you
this
mean?
week.
Something in Group 1 calibre that actually suits the horse?
Nah.
You don't want to do it, Tom?
Nah.
Average horse.
Fair enough.
Remember watching from the couch at home when Farlap was going around.
I think watching the Newmarket handicap and Imperigers just lose that, obviously, because of the way it kind of inspired me to think about new handicap races that we could...
Jeez, I love that she went there.
Yeah, 100%. It was
great.
so good for racing.
Espiona should have been there.
Yes,
Private Eye should have been
agreed.
there. Another with bad tactics. Just ridiculous. Anyway.
Well, good luck for the weekend, fellas. It was a good show. Looking forward to footy coming back next week. I was pretty poor, but
Liam and I
hopefully we can get the lay streak continuing. Thanks again. This is Layback with Betfair. Go to the Betfair Hub for all of the guys' tips, and we'll see you next week.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.